Hey everybody, it's Matt Chu at Upright Health here with...
Josh Hash. What's up, guys?
I forgot his name there for a second. We've been chatting a little bit about stretching and pain while stretching and what that pain means and how you can orient yourself properly mentally when you're stretching. So Josh was doing something with the pancake splits. You might have seen it on Instagram. He's trying to eat a banana while doing the pancake splits.
Right.
What were your thoughts that you were having about stretching the other day?
Well, I think like you get to a certain point where you're sitting into a stretch, and when you get to your deep range of motions, it's pretty painful. But then you start to kind of realize that the only reason it's painful is because you're telling yourself that it's painful, right? And now, of course, yes, like you're in some discomfort, but the more I could just tell my mind that there's nothing to be scared of in this position, and that maybe that painfulness is just something that I'm kind of making up in my mind, my body just would relax, and I could, that position that was, kind of scary and painful would just become a little bit more comfortable. And I think that stretching kind of gives you you can kind of become more comfortable with being uncomfortable, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that was actually something that came up with another client who she hasn't really been stretching much. She's never done much stretching in her life, but we were just talking about how she's finding like the more she was stretching, the less fear she was having about stretching. So, and we were talking about it as, when you stretch, you encounter these sensations, you encounter fear around certain motions, and this kind of gives you an opportunity to face fear and then mentally overcome it. Like just to actually be in a place where you feel like, okay, this I'm unsafe, but then just sort of say, well, it's going to be okay. I'm just going to hang out here a little bit and see what happens. And generally that, it's the same experience for me. You get to go a little bit further if you can overcome that initial fear.
Right.
And I don't know that
it's when, if you clench up, that's when you're like, oh, I need to get out of this.
Right.
Right.
Yep. I think I think it's important to remember that you don't always successfully manage to avoid that clenching up. Like there are times where you go into a stretch and you're just like, nope, absolutely not, I can't do it, no way. And that's fine, you're not going to succeed every time, but if you are able to allow yourself to kind of feel deeply into what your body is capable of doing, if you can relax a little bit, a lot of times you can get a little bit further. Even right now, as we're talking here, on this leg, this has always historically been my tighter set of hamstrings. And even right now, as we're talking, it's loosening up. My first stopping point was here. And now as we're talking, I'm able to go further and further, even though I can feel like the body is saying, stop, you don't want to do that, right?
Right.
So.
Right, and maybe you could, so I think this kind of phenomenon happens in other aspects of life and especially fitness as well. So maybe you've had the experience with, maybe you run, and when you first started running, you thought running 6 miles is just absurd, right? And it's very scary. But then after you've run for maybe 6 months and you've built up to that, then you run 6 miles and it's not so bad, and you're a little bit more comfortable with that. Well, if you've had that some type of experience like that in life, then stretching is the exact same thing. And it just comes with, getting more comfortable and actually just doing the work, practicing.
Right.
You'll be able to face your fears and things will be better off.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good to me. I like it when things are better off.
Right.
Yeah, it is just like anything, right? With practice, as your body gets used to it, it does get better at it. It's not to say that the only thing in life you should be doing is stretching, but if you think about stretching in a different way, don't think about it as, you're going to die, but think about it as my body just needs to get comfortable here, needs to be able to control this here. That can help you orient yourself mentally so that you can get a little bit further, make some improvements, make a little bit of progress, instead of letting fear, guide your, whether you stay in the stretch or come out. That said, you have to acknowledge your own limitations and where you are. So you need to kind of ride that line of like, what is safe for me now? What can I actually relax into safely? What can I control? Versus, I'm just going to jump out, right?
Right, exactly.
So hopefully this viewpoint on stretching helps you the next time you're stretching, and hopefully you remember that pain sucks.
I've shown it.
If you liked the video, don't forget to like, share, and comment, and don't forget to subscribe.